Hello and welcome to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and today we have a very important guest. He is a colleague of mine. His name is Mr. Chad McLamb. He's the principal of Morganton Road Elementary. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. So, Chad, why don't you tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself and your educational experiences?
Well, of course, I'm married to my lovely wife of 13 years, Amber. I have 3 beautiful children. I have a 3rd grade daughter, a kindergarten daughter, and a 2-year-old boy that has taken our house by storm. I am a product of Fayetteville, of Cumberland County Schools. I'm a graduate of Pine Forest High School, 99, and from there I went on to get my degree from UNC Wilmington in Communication Studies. I taught for 10 years at Pine Forest Middle School. I taught PE, health, and I coached year-round. I coached boys basketball, football, and girls softball. And from there, I decided to go back to school to get my master's in school administration at Fayetteville State University. And from there, I got a assistant principal job at C. Wayne Collier Elementary within Cumberland County Schools in Hope Mills. I was assistant principal at Collier for 5 years, and I have been the proud principal of Morganton Road Elementary for the past 5 years.
Okay. Chad, tell us a little bit about your communications degree.
Well, I was a little bit undecided in college about what I wanted to major in. And I've always been very outgoing, so I figured I wanted to go into communications. So I decided just to polish my skills off a little bit and major in communications.
Okay. What is it about communications that you like?
I love relationships. I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. No matter where you are in life, relationships matter, and they are such a huge part of my life, and that's something that I really focus on, not only in my personal life, but in education as well.
Okay. Now, you said you were a coach of what again?
I coached football, boys basketball, and girls softball.
Okay. What was your favorite sport?
My favorite sport to coach was definitely basketball.
Okay.
I still talk to a lot of my players. They've gone on, graduated from college, and I still keep in touch with quite a few of them. They went on to become very successful, making me very proud, and making themselves and their families very proud. But I would say my favorite sport to coach was definitely boys basketball.
Okay, great. Now, Chad, when did you first realize that you wanted to become a principal? And why?
I first decided I wanted to become a principal a couple years into my teaching experience. I come from a family that has a background in education. My dad taught PE and health at Pine Forest Middle School for over 30 years. My mom was a lifelong teacher assistant within the county. So I was very knowledgeable about the education field. Coming out of college with a communication degree, I did not initially want to go into education, but Mr. Krummenacher from Pine Forest Middle School, there was a PE opening, and I went in lateral entry as a PE teacher, and from there I started teaching. And a couple years in, I wanted to reach more people. I'm a natural leader. I like to work with not only kids but adults as well. So I figured I would look into the principal aspect. And so, with the approval of Mr. K and the guidance that he had to offer, I decided to go back to school at Fayetteville State to get my master's in school administration. My wife and I prayed about it. We talked about it a lot, and it was just something that was my calling.
Okay, well, that's good.
As for why, I think I touched on that a little bit. I just wanted to reach more people, more kids. my middle school background in coaching and teaching allowed me to build a relationship with a lot of kids, but I wanted to do something that would allow me to make a difference in more young people's lives, because I was getting them in middle school. However, I knew that a lot of children need that positive male role model, and that was something that I wanted to do, is go into elementary education.
Mm-hmm, okay. And we'll talk about that positive male role model later on in the show.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about Morganton Road Elementary. Tell me all about it.
Morganton Road is the best elementary school in Cumberland County.
No.
The best elementary school in Cumberland County. That's how we start off our morning announcements.
Mine too.
Oh, really?
Yes, baby.
Well, you must be not telling the truth to your kids.
No, love, W.T. Brown. But I'm listening, baby. I'm listening.
So I love our community. We have some amazing children, some families that will leave a legacy. We are a very tight-knit community. I have the privilege of working with an amazing staff. They amaze me daily just by going in and seeing the relationships that they are building. We are working very, very hard, and just the families and the community that the Morganton Road has provided is just it's a sight to see, and it makes my job very enjoyable.
Now, how many students do you have?
We are right around 540.
Okay. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Right. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the great celebrations you've had this year, some of the great activities, events. Kind of tell me a little bit about it.
Well, every day is a celebration at Morganton Road.
Right.
But we do like to celebrate our achievements. We are a PBIS school, so we do a lot of positive behavior intervention and support. We do have the quarterly celebrations with PBIS. We have a girls mentoring program called Dazzling Stars. They meet every Friday. They're working in the community. We have your typical Battle of the Books and things like that. But I think the thing that makes Morganton Road really special is just the connection that our staff builds with our community and our kids. And that's something we celebrate each and every day. We're trying to get parental involvement higher, and because we can't do it without parents, and parents can't do it without us. We must work together as a team to ensure that we give that child the best education possible. So we have a lot of things in place, but the reason why we're here is to celebrate those children. So we celebrate those children every day. Okay.
Now, Chad, I know before the show, you and I were talking a little bit about building relationships. You talk with your staff, I talk with my staff. Cumberland County talks with us all the time about the importance of building those positive relationships. When you have a student, Chad, and you have a teacher, and they have this beautiful relationship, there's nothing that child won't do to please that teacher. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of establishing those relationships.
Absolutely. There is nothing more satisfying as a building principal to walk into a classroom of a student that may have been a frequent flyer of the office, or frequent flyer of receiving behavior referrals and things of that sort, to finally get that teacher and that teacher build the relationship with that student. Because as you just stated, student, if they know that you care and that you go out of your way to make that child feel special, all it takes is that one adult, that one person in a school to drastically turn everything around. Our students come with a lot of baggage, a lot of good baggage, a lot of bad baggage, a lot of tough baggage, but without building that relationship, adults in the building cannot understand what that child is going through at home. So the first thing we must do as adults and educators is to get to know that child on a personal level, build that one-on-one relationship, and make a difference with that child. And that's not easy to do. And depending on the child, depending on the teacher, depending on the staff member, that may look a lot of different ways. It may be showing up to a basketball game on a Saturday morning. We have a lot of students that play sports, and that is the connection that a lot of our teachers, they may not know a lot about basketball, but just showing up on a Saturday to a football game, to a basketball game, that teacher seeing that child in the stands and that child looking at that teacher and smiling and having that aha moment, my teacher cares about me. It could be just the one-on-one conversations that you have at recess. It could be, taking that 30 seconds to make a positive phone call home. It could look a lot of different ways, but whenever you look and you can tell that the relationship is there, the child will be a lot more successful in your building.
That's right. Amen, Chad. Let's talk about now the importance of that positive male role model for our babies. You and I, of course, have similar demographics in our schools.
Right.
A lot of our babies don't have a father.
Right.
It's important that they have that positive male in their life.
Right. And that's vital in a lot of students' lives. A lot of our kids at Morganton Road do not have that positive male role model. So I want to do whatever I can to step in. Of course, I'm never going to replace their father or their dad, but I can be their father figure for 7.5 hours a day. I'm very transparent and open with our parents, and if I see that child that I feel would benefit from that, I'll make a contact home to that parent and just say, I had a crucial conversation with your son, and I'm going to be checking on him a little bit more. Just had a conversation with another young man the other day. He just moved to Morganton Road, coming from another school, and he had probably, in my experience as a administrator, his self-esteem was not high at all. He said that I should not take my time because he's not worth my time, and that he doesn't need me to check in on him. But you could just see through his eyes and his emotion that he wanted somebody to reach out. So I of course told him that that's my job, and I want to check in on him. And ever since then, it's been about 2 weeks now. He's smiling at school. He's starting to, pull his grades up a little bit. But it all started from that one crucial conversation. The principal's office doesn't always have to be that negative experience.
Exactly.
You have the opportunity to reach a lot of students, and if your office is is known as just the place where troubled kids go, then I think that is that's not what that needs to be. But principal's office always needs to be a place where you can celebrate achievements, have those conversations, invite a kid to eat lunch with you, because they need that, and a lot of our students do need that positive male role model, and that's probably the most satisfying work that I get out of my job, is to be that positive role model.
That's great, Chad. I know you'll make a difference in his life this year.
I'm trying to.
Parental involvement. This is something that, has always been a challenge for me at my school. And this year I've been telling my staff, we're going to bring the village concept back.
Right.
It takes a village to educate our sweet faces.
Right.
So kind of talk with me a little bit about the importance of parental involvement.
Parental involvement, as you know, is vital. We must all work together to make a difference in the lives of children. We are working really, really hard to get parental involvement up. Of course, you'll have those pockets of your building that are very strong with parental involvement, and that all starts with the teacher to student relationship, and get the kid excited about being in that teacher's class, and get the communication going. It's really important for teacher and parent to be on board. And there's an abundance of communication nowadays with technology, with phone apps and things of that nature. There is no excuse why we cannot get parents, if they're not going to come into your building, at least let them know how their child is doing, things that are going on in your building. We make, of course, weekly phone calls, letting parents know that I want you in the building. We're partnering with our feeder schools. This past weekend, Westover High School just allowed all of our students in the district to come for free with a paid adult. So, I mean, we're working really, really hard to get that parental involvement up, getting them to know about the curriculum. We got a game night coming up in the future. We're trying to equip our parents, because school is a little different than when we were coming up.
Yes, it is.
So a lot of our parents may not understand some of the curriculum and how we're presenting it to children. So I think that presenting it to parents in a fun and engaging way and giving them opportunities to take it home and work with their children and get them excited about sending their child to school. I think just doing things like that to get parents involved will make a huge impact on their child.
Okay. Well, Chad, I thank you so much for part one of my show.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewing audience, for watching the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner. Have a good one.
Familiar stranger, stranger, wait, hold up, don't run, I don't bite. Familiar stranger, got me so